let's dive into just Delaware this past weekend. So because they played Saturday, or was it Thursday or Friday?
Yeah, they kicked it off Thursday night. They were one of the few teams to kick it off before the 5-day weekend of games. I think we have another one tonight, North Carolina TCU, and yeah, they played the first night, so I was able to kick back and watch the other ones. Yeah, Thursday night against Delaware State.
Yeah, so I did catch it. I was going across the ticker on the bottom, and it said I was just looking. I was like, man, they are beating the brakes off of Delaware State, and so I was just kind of like, okay, so is this a rivalry, kind of like how you said? But what was the key to the game, and was this expected this past weekend?
Hey, I definitely think it was expected. What I will tell you was unexpected was the start for the Blue Hens. Heading into the game, they're really excited to bring Zach Marker back, leading the program for. He got hurt in 2023, season-ending leg injury. 24, he redshirted to lead the Hens in 25 for its first FBS season. Second drive of the game, first play, scrambles out, gets the first yard, but then can't get up on his own. Looks like that same leg. And, I think that really kind of threw off kind of the vibes around the entire team to start off. And, but once it got going, they got going. Nick Minicucci came off the bench, the junior, who's filled in for quarterback injuries each of the past 3 years. As a true freshman, even came in and started an FCS playoff game in his first career start. But once he got in and got going, the offense scored touchdowns on 4 of its final 5 drives. The defense really got it together. But there was one point, I think it was 3-0 Delaware State, like towards the back, I think like 5-6 minutes left in the second quarter. But when you look at the final, you wouldn't even understand that really. And I would say expected result. But I think it took a while for the program to really get comfortable after that shakeup to start the game.
No, absolutely. And that was my question, right? So, I'm Bryce, I'm just not even going to try to be like, I watch every game. I have never watched Delaware. I'm just going to be completely honest. When I do see, when I seen Joe Flacco come out, I remember Rich Gannon. I remember just being like, wow, they look like Michigan, right?
The winged helmets. That's a great backstory within itself.
Okay, we're gonna get to that before we leave, because that was like, my wife, she is always like, you should ask him about the Michigan helmets. I said, well, we'll see how it goes. I don't really care about that, but now I got to hear it. So we'll jump to that here in a bit. But you talked about Marker, right? The quarterback, where it looked like, so last year, I was just kind of doing my research on it and trying to figure out a couple things, even as far as a month ago, didn't really dive as much as I should have into Delaware. But I am curious, though. It looked like, was there 3 quarterbacks that played a lot last year?
Yeah, I would say the past 2 years, it was, the same trio of quarterbacks. It was Zach Marker, Nick Minicucci, who I just mentioned. And then the actual starter for both 2023 and 2024 was Ryan O'Connor, who was with the program for since it's with the COVID years, redshirt years, injury years. I think he was part of the program for a long time, 2019, 2020. But yeah, all 3 of them saw time. Maybe it was because of injury. Maybe it was for redshirt, saving them for 25. And then that was the case for Marker. But fortunately, now dealing with a quarterback injury, and thoughts to him, because it's not looking likely that he's going to be seeing the field anytime soon after this, heading into his last year of eligibility. But fortunately now for the Hens that Nick Minicucci has had that experience. Now you're not rolling out somebody that's never experienced the playbook for the first time.
Okay, great. Because I was like, are they running a 3-system quarterback? And that's
it's funny. They did that in 2023. It was Zach Marker and O'Connor. They were fighting for the job in the beginning of the year, and basically every couple of drive they would switch off each and every one of them until I think Marker did get an injury in a game against Penn State, and then O'Connor won the job from there for the rest of the season. So they've done it before, but yeah, it was going to be Marker all the way to start this year. Unfortunately, now it's going to be Minicucci's time.
Yeah, and injuries are never fun. Godspeed to him. Marker, hopefully he gets healthy again. Nobody wants to see those, the worst part of the game. And but I did read about that, and I was like, is there a 3 quarterback system? So I think one of my questions was to you is Delaware seems to be a 2 QB system, and it's like that's not the case anymore. So was Marker more of the dual threat though? Because just looking at the box score, it looks like he had however many plays he played, he had a good chunk of rushing yards, right? I believe like 34, 44 or something around there.
Yeah, Marker definitely can step out and run. And, that's kind of what you're setting yourself up to if you're, leaving that pocket and, trying to fight for that extra first down. You're, leaving yourself exposed to maybe a few more hits. And I would say definitely Marker was very dual threat, ran the offense very well. I'm sure we're going to get into the offensive style here. And Minicucci, I'd say, likes to pass it, but he also can step out. Actually, the first touchdown of the FBS season was a designed quarterback draw. Minicucci took it from shotgun, took a couple steps, and then just went straight to the end zone. So they have their own style with it. I think Marker maybe has the ability to feel and scramble it on his own, but Minicucci can also get out of the pocket when needed as well.
Okay. No, that's good to know. And let's just jump into it. You alluded to the offensive style. What can we expect from Delaware on offense?
Yeah, I would say it's funny to say this. I'm sure all coaches want to think that they want to play balanced, but that's really the expectations for this offense. They really look to spread the ball around. It's maybe not just one or two players getting all of the targets or carries. They're going to run a lot of RPOs. It's a program that really is going to get the ball out quick. Very up tempo. I think there's a lot of no huddle in this first game. Head coach Ryan Carty is the play caller. You mentioned all those great quarterbacks. Brian Carty was actually a former Blue Hen quarterback himself. He was the backup to Joe Flacco and a lot of other quarterbacks in the early 2000s. He's back now as an alumni and is the play caller as well as being the head coach. But runs a very quick offense that's going to get the ball out quick and try to keep the tempo of the game in their hands.
Okay, very cool. No, and I know, that RPO that has changed a lot of the football game as we know it, right? Like it is predicated on either you're reading crashing ends, linebackers, whatever it may be, reading whatever it may be, and that ball needs to get out or the ball needs to get handed off. It's all quick hitting, and it protects the quarterback quite a bit, right? These dudes don't have to pass protect for 4 or 5 seconds, right, just to make something happen. So that's good to know. And again, something that RPO was that we went over on Monday was the running quarterback. Colorado has struggled with that since last year. Jaden Daniels, you look at that, right at the end of the year against Kansas. Jalen Daniels, gosh, I always say the wrong Daniels.
It's too close.
Oh my gosh, I always mess that up. But Jalen Daniels, he torched him. He torched him last year. And again, this is just something that we need to look at. You look at what Haynes King did, 156 yards rushing and 3 rushing touchdowns on the ground. So again, it's coming again at Colorado this weekend. So I'm curious to see what that looks like, right? Because you and I talked about before the game, right? It's a 23.5 point spread right now. It's a lot of points, right?
Mm-hmm.
But again, Colorado has to stop somebody running right now. They have to stop a quarterback. They have not done it in the coach primary yet. With the mobile quarterback and this RPO, they have not it has not fared well for them at this point. So now I know that I was reading about a receiver. I cannot remember his name. What is his name? I believe he led him in receiving this past game. I should have wrote it down.
You're good. So I can help. You're giving me the assist on this one. So the leading the way for the Blue Hens on receiving in game one was Michigan transfer Jake Thaw. He transferred in from Michigan when he was a walk-on. He was actually the punt returner 2 years ago for the program, and he was second in receiving last year. The big play receiver in the wide receiver room last year was Phil Lutz, who was a really surprise breakout player. Came from the D3 up to D1, led the offense in scoring with 900 yards. I think got the double-digit touchdowns, and losing Lutz was definitely a big loss for the room. But Thaw's back, and he led the way. Had 92 yards against Delaware State, including a big 50-yard touchdown on a third down that really sealed the game for the Hens. Another receiver to watch is definitely Kyrie Duplessis, a Coastal Carolina transfer in his first season at Delaware. If you saw that Notre Dame-Miami game last night, Miami receiver made that one-handed catch in the end zone. Kyrie Duplessis made a one-handed catch very similar to that hasn't really made the spotlight on some of these networks, but he as well had a great first game as a Blue Hen. He's out as the Team Z receiver on the right side. He already, as in his 4 or 5 year collegiate career in week one for the Blue Hens, he he set single game career highs in receptions and receiving yards. So I think he's someone that they're going to want to get the ball to as well. And another player that started with Thal and Duplessis was redshirt freshman Sean Wilson, who may be projected to really take a breakout season this year as the X receiver. And I know they were trying to get the ball to him early. Maybe he didn't equate to the yards and catches, but he's probably going to get a lot of targets on Saturday as well.
No, thank you. Great information. Yeah, and I know I'm excited to see what Delaware looks like, and I'm also excited to see these playmakers. Right, I want to see them. Right, because again, it's and they look cool. Right, I always say Michigan has really cool helmets, and now we get to see Delaware with their cool helmets at Folsom here in Boulder.